Hey everybody, in this video I want to talk about possible Champions League contenders to win the 2017-2018 Champions League season. And I want to start off by first going through sort of a list of teams and how I perceive them to be this season, their current form, and overall odds I think they have of winning the Champions League title in May or June of next year. I think it's in late May. So going through Group A, everyone in the group stages has played 5 of their 6 games. There's only 1 game remaining. It comes next month in December, I think about a week and a half. And then we will have the draw after that for the round of 16. So since half the teams will be eliminated, I look at all the groups, and I did have a chance to see several matches, so I got the chance to watch more games this year than I was able last year. In Group A, I think Manchester United really, it was sort of a shock result when Basel defeated them. I think Mourinho got his tactics wrong in that game for the most part, and Basel looked like they were staring down into the barrel, finishing third in this group because CSK Moscow was in very good position. But now they are ahead of CSK Moscow on goal difference, and by quite a bit, I think by 5 goals. So it's looking like Manchester United and Basel will go through to the round of 16, barring a total collapse of Basel to get CSK. To get CSK into the round of 16. Overall, Manchester United is part of an emerging pattern, in my opinion, of English clubs really sort of making their strongest case to make deep runs in the Champions League season this year, really for the first time since 2012 to 2014. With, Man City, Man United, Tottenham Hotspur, we're sort of seeing a reemergence of EPL teams establishing themselves in the Champions League, and we could see 1 or 2 go on a deep run, maybe to the quarters or the semis. I know Leicester City did that last year, but this is really the first time in a while where it looks like as many as 2 or 3 teams from England could constitute part of the last 8 if the draw suits them and if they continue to hit peak form. Moving on to Group B, Paris Saint-Germain and my Bayern team had this group wrapped up relatively early. PSG conceded their first goal to Celtic. Celtic scored first. It looked like Celtic were maybe going to pull off a shock result since they went ahead in the opening minute, but then PSG just responded back with 7 goals. And 24 scored, 1 conceded. That's quite something. Maximum points achieved, 15 points. But to be honest, this group is relatively weak for PSG. I mean, Anderlecht and Celtic are not really strong opposition for a team that have the likes of Mbappe and Neymar and Cavani and now Dani Alves. So, and then you look at Bayern Munich, they had to bring in Jupp Heynckes back, and it's not the strongest that they've looked, to be honest. It's relatively like Bayern Munich light, what we're used to seeing with a team with caliber with Bayern Munich. And as a Bayern fan, it kind of pisses me off a bit because I was watching the Anderlecht game the other day, and we barely escaped from there with the full 3 points. And this is a team in Anderlecht who hadn't scored any goals before that match. And this is a team in Anderlecht who hasn't garnered any points so far in the Champions League season. But we barely won that game 2-1. I think we scored late on in the 78th minute. And we just didn't look convincing. We did not look too good. This is sort of like Bayern Munich on 50% mode, in my opinion. So PSG is looking very dominant. They look like the most dominant team this season. I would imagine in most people's minds they are the favorite to win it. Whether or not I think they will win it, I'll mention at the end of this video. Then Group C has been the most interesting because it's been a somewhat tight contest at the top between Chelsea, Roma, and Atletico. Those three teams are only separated by 4 points. Chelsea's guaranteed to go through, though, but they didn't clinch it until the last game. So it's really between Roma and Atletico. And even though Atletico beat Roma at home recently, Roma is in the driver's seat as far as who's more likely to go through. And we could be seeing a Champions League season with Atletico going out in the group stages when they've reached the semifinals at least twice in the last 3 or 4 seasons. So that is a disappointment for Atletico. You have a team, an Azerbaijani side like Karabag, sort of playing spoiler, right, stealing a couple of points from a few teams here and there. But it's looking like Roma, despite losing to Atleti just the other day, is in a better position to go through. And Chelsea, I think Antonio Conte is a good manager. I think he's a very good manager. But sometimes different managing styles don't mesh well with certain teams. I mean, I thought he did a beautiful job with the Italian national team. But with Chelsea, it might not be the right fit for him, but that still remains to be seen. I still think he's a decent manager. I think this is mostly due to a poor-ish spell in form for Chelsea. They're not playing at their best, but they're playing efficiently enough to get the job done. Sort of what Bayern Munich is going through right now. In Group D, Barcelona, Juventus, Sporting CP, and Olympiacos. Barcelona is guaranteed to go through. Barca have not been at their best either this season. In other words, they haven't been the typical dominant Barcelona team that we're used to seeing. But, I mean, they're putting full use with what they have, and they're getting points against Juventus, Sporting CP, and Olympiacos. It's really a two-way race between Juventus and Sporting CP at the moment. They're only separated by 1 point. I thought the match they had the other day against Juventus 0-0, maybe a little bit disappointing from their perspective, but I thought overall they got the result they just about needed. Because we have to remember that Juventus is a side that is very astute in defense. Even though it is a team that leaked in 5 goals and scored 5 goals, it has a goal difference of 0. But still, it was the kind of result you would almost expect to see in a Juventus-Barca game. Not a very high-scoring affair. Group E, Liverpool, Sevilla, Spartak Moscow, and Maribor. I long considered this to be the group of life when the draw was made, and it's still proving to be that way because no one has clinched a spot in the round of 16 yet. We still have a really close 3-way race between Liverpool, Sevilla, and Spartak Moscow. Any 2 of the 3 can go through with only 1 match day remaining. So that is something to put off on the side and to observe with keen interest. See who goes through that, because any 2 of the top 3 can go through. I think the only team that's eliminated is Maribor. Who will go through? It's hard to see Sevilla not. I mean, it's really hard to see Sevilla not going through. And since Liverpool is in pole position, I think Liverpool will probably do it, unless they collapse. Group F, Manchester City, Shakhtar Donetsk, Napoli, and Feyenoord. Manchester City dominating. In my opinion, the second most dominating team this season. In my opinion, also one of the 3 favorites to win the Champions League. Yes, that's right. I think that Pep Guardiola has brought out the best in this side. I mean, best as far as what can be expected from Manchester City. Had a really disappointing season last year where they couldn't get through the round of 16 when they really had a good opportunity to get at least to the last 8 with all the talent that they have. But I think Manchester City can really make a strong case for getting to at least a semifinal. I do. And then elsewhere in the group, it's still between Shakhtar Donetsk and Napoli. The Ukrainian club is probably going to go through. Group G, Besiktas. Besiktas, a Turkish club, doing really well this season. They've already clinched a spot in the round of 16. It's mostly a two-way race between Porto and RB Leipzig, who are both on 7 points and only separated from each other by 2 goals. So, make your pick. Who goes through, Porto or RB Leipzig? I think Porto will cling on to it just about. Depends what the next game is. If they're playing Besiktas, they're in trouble. And then Group H, Tottenham Hotspur, like I said, another English team that is on the up at the moment. Real Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, and APOEL, a Cypriot club. So Tottenham and Real are already through. And I think that Real Madrid has sort of followed the same pattern as Barca and Chelsea this season. This doesn't look like the same Real team that won the last 2 Champions League. They're still obscenely good, and they should still be considered one of the favorites to win it. But I actually don't have them as one of my 3 favorites to win it this year. I don't think Real Madrid are going to three-peat. I think that there's just something missing from them, from the team that won 3 of the last 4 Champions League trophies. And Tottenham Hotspur getting that emphatic 3-0 victory at home against Real Madrid. Tottenham, in my opinion, of all the teams that are the 32 teams in this Champions League group stage, I put Tottenham in the top 5 of my power rankings. And I think that, with 13 points from 15 games, I think they're the second strongest English team at the moment. I would put them ahead of Jose Mourinho's Manchester United, just by a little bit. But I think on current form, I think they're only behind Manchester City as far as Premier League teams, in the Champions League at least. So, I said I was going to tell you my 3 favorites to win the trophy. I think the 3 favorites, in my opinion, are in order from most likely to least likely. I think it's PSG, Barcelona, and Manchester City. That's why I think one of those 3 teams are going to win the Champions League. Now, I'm going to press me and choose and give an early prediction of who I think will win the Champions League. I don't think PSG is going to do it. I don't. I mean, I look at how dominant they are. I look at how star-studded they are. I look at the form. Not just Neymar coming in, but looking at Cavani's form. This guy's been the best in his whole entire career, for club or country. The reason I'm hesitant to pick PSG is just because I don't think they've really been tested yet. I mean, they're playing a sort of a watered-down Bayern team that had to go through a managerial change. Anderlecht and Celtic, it's just providing them with 4 full matches, opportunities to rack up the scoring and turn into a goal fest. I don't think they've been tested yet. I don't. And I think that Barcelona's group is more well-rounded with Juventus in it. And I think that, I don't know, I think Barcelona will be better battle-hardened by the time they get to the latter rounds of this tournament. And another thing that's really difficult in predicting stuff like this is you don't know who's going to play who. It's not like an international tournament where, the winner of Group A plays the runner-up of Group B, and the winner of Group B plays the runner-up of Group A. You don't know who's going to get drawn with who. Every stage is a draw. And you could get super teams meeting each other very early, while somewhat weaker sides go on a run to the semifinals. So, it's hard. My pick to win the Champions League, early pick, it's subject to change because I don't know who they're going to play in the round of 16 and later on. But early prediction, I think Barcelona's going to take it. I think that of the 3 managers, Valverde, Guardiola, and Emery, I think that even though Guardiola has experience with winning Champions League trophies. I just think this Barcelona team is more seasoned. I just think that Valverde will be able to get them the results they need. I'm picking Barcelona to win it. My second choice to win it is actually also not PSG. It's Manchester City because of the whole Pep Guardiola factor. So I think we could see something like a Barcelona versus Man City final, or a Barcelona versus PSG final, or maybe if another team gets sort of lucky, like Tottenham, maybe we can see Tottenham get to the final. Juventus, maybe Jose Mourinho takes United there. Like I said, we're sort of seeing a rebirth of English teams making a strong case this year. But I think Barcelona's going to win it. All right, so leave a comment below, like, subscribe. Tell me, who do you think is going to win the Champions League? Who is going to meet in the final? So I'll see you guys later today. Hopefully, God willing. Till then, have a good day. Much love and peace.